Hey, Mindful Tribe. Thanks for joining me today. It's Sunday, January 2nd, and I'm really excited to have you with me here in my studio. Well, like virtually anyway. So, yeah, today I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question about a word, and the word is about fulfillment. So, I called the episode Fulfillment for Your Life. And so I just wanted to think about this word fulfillment because I'll tell you, I was talking to somebody and they said, "Hey, by the way, Bruce, so what's your word for 2022?" And I just thought like a second and I just said fulfillment. And then afterwards, I started thinking about it, thinking about it, and thinking about it. And why did I come up with the word fulfillment? Why did that pop into my brain at that particular second in time? And I think that fulfillment is a great word. I've I've had a word for the year many times, and I found it to be an a really, really helpful practice to have a word that I just keep coming back to all the time during the year. Sometimes I take that word and I go to Photoshop and I make that word into something that I can stick on the wall, something that I can put up and be inspired by every single day. And I can easily do that with the word fulfillment, and it will constantly remind me that is my word for 2022. And so let's talk about having a word of the year. Is that a really good thing to do? Do you think it's a waste of time? What do you think? Do you think it's a valuable exercise? Before we talk about that, I wanted to share with you a quote for the year that I thought was so meaningful. And I put it up on TikTok. And I like to do quick little videos on TikTok. And I just think it's so much fun to have these little videos. And here's the quote. It's this: be the one who is so busy loving your life that you have no time for hate, regret, or fear. And I think there's a lot to that quote that's valuable. Be the one who is so busy loving your life. And that's related to loving yourself, of course, because if you have a dislike for yourself, if you have a hate on for yourself, you're probably going to have a hate on for your life. And so I think it's one and the same. Be so busy loving yourself or be so busy loving your life. I think it's very, very similar. And the next part, that you have no time for, and then these three things: hate, regret, or fear. And they're all very different things. And they all come from fear, in my opinion. Like fear is one of those emotions that's, other things come from it. A lot of other things come from it. Hate comes from fear, and anger comes from fear. And I definitely think regret comes from fear. I think so many different emotions come from that one emotion of fear. And I think we all have fear, but I think it's really important to be open to that fear and to realize that it's there and to embrace it and just say to yourself, hey, I'm just going to let that happen. I'm going to examine it. I'm going to notice it. I'm going to pay attention to it. And I think for me, many times in my life, I tried to not pay attention to it. I tried to push it down. I tried to uh, get busy so I wouldn't be thinking about it or think about something else. But fear is something that if you welcome it, if you are open to it, if you allow it to be, then it won't seem like anywhere near as much of a big deal. But that's why I think this quote is really great. Be the one who is so busy loving your life that you have no time for hate, regret, or fear. And that quote is by Karen Salmonson. And I didn't know this author. She's an author. Didn't know her before. I found the quote, really enjoyed it, wanted to share it. And then I looked up this author and noticed that she's the author of this book, which I think I'd really enjoy reading. It's called Happy Habits: 50 Science-Backed Rituals to Adopt or Stop to Boost Health and Happiness. So interesting that that title has a lot to it. 50 science backed, and I love this. I really like when something has a basis in science. So I like that. 50 science backed rituals. So all of a sudden we're talking about rituals or habits or, you know, something I'm very interested in, how I can use a habit to help me in my life, or how I can release a habit, let go of a habit that is not serving me any longer. And I think that's a very important way to get ahead. And I think that's something that a lot of people think of at the beginning of the year. So by the way, happy New Year, happy 2022. I should have said that at the very top of the show, but I just like the author and some of the books that she's authored, but this one in particular for the beginning of the year, I think, wow, happy habits, 50 science-backed rituals to adopt, and then she puts in brackets or stop, because sometimes we want to stop these things to boost health and happiness. So I'm quite interested in reading that book. I might read it online, or I might order it. I don't know. I haven't ordered it yet, but I think it's a great title for a book, and I think probably the book is excellent because she's an experienced author. But back to word of the year. So my word of the year, you already know, I've already shared it, and the word is fulfillment. And so what does fulfillment really mean? Well, I think to me, as a mindfulness guy, I think you can choose to be fulfilled. I think fulfillment is a choice. A lot of people do not feel fulfilled in their lives, and that causes them a lot of pain, a lot of angst, a lot of anxiety, and they go day after day feeling, oh my gosh, you know I've I'm just missing the boat. I'm not achieving in my life what I set out to achieve, or I'm not achieving enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And that is what I experience with my clients a lot of times. That's what their anxiety boils down to, is this belief that they are not enough. They don't make enough money, or they haven't made enough impact on the world, maybe haven't authored enough books, whatever it is, I'm not enough. And you know what? You are enough. I think that's what mindfulness teaches us. It teaches us to be happy at this very moment. And I think that's why fulfillment is such a great word, because you can choose to be fulfilled. Now, it may not be easy to just suddenly, you can't just suddenly usually say, oh, guess what? I've decided I'm fulfilled. Like, it sounds kind of silly. But the fact is, if you decide that you are going to be satisfied in your life at this very moment, it will give you peace. It will give you this sense of being grounded so that you can move forward. So mindfulness certainly does mean to be happy in the moment, but it also means, yes, you can achieve incredible things in your life. It doesn't mean don't look to the future. It doesn't mean don't make goals. That's not what it means at all. So you can definitely set goals and have all sorts of plans for your life, but you can also be happy in the moment. You can do both of those things. So the definition of fulfillment, I quickly looked it up, and this is what I found. It said the achievement of something desired, promised, or predicted. And so I think fulfillment is achieving something desired, promised, or predicted. But I also think, like I said, that we can choose to feel fulfilled in the moment or not. And when you're choosing not, sometimes you're choosing pain, you're choosing sadness, you're choosing, anxiety without meaning to. So I think that it's really important um, to think logically about, how can I be happy in life? How can I feel fulfilled? What do I need to do to feel fulfilled? So fulfillment is my word for 2022. Why choose a word? Why is it important to choose a word for the year? And here's what I think. I think that by choosing a word for the year, you are doing a lot of good things for yourself. I think that that word can be an anchor to help you set goals, set intentional goals, and to make decisions to improve your life. And this word can give your life more definition and more meaning. And I think that, like I already said, it can help with your goals. And I also think that every time you meditate, if you're a person who uses this, if you're a person who meditates, or maybe you use mantras, then this word, if you every time, you're thinking, oh yeah, my word of the year is fulfillment or whatever it is, then you can meditate on this topic or on words related to this topic. So meditate and use mantras related to your word of the year, and it will help you feel more focused. Now, it'll also help you develop more depth and insight into your word. So whatever word you pick, you can look up the definition. But if you think about that word every day for a month, you'll have a lot more insight and depth into the meaning of that word. Not to mention how you will think about that word after a year, if that has been your word of the year. Then you'll notice how the word is used by others. You'll notice how the meaning of this word differs in other people's lives, how they think of it differently. So you'll have so much insight. And here's another thing: if you journal or if you have a gratitude practice, this word again can be a central focus, and it can be like an anchor for your thoughts. So I think all of these reasons make it really valuable to choose a word of the year. Don't belabor it. Don't stress out over it. Just just kind of let the word come to you. Maybe when you're meditating, it'll come to you. Maybe just as you wake up in the morning. Like if you go to sleep thinking, word of 2022, what would my word be? And then you just fall off to sleep. And then in the morning, maybe you'll open your eyes and you're like, oh, yeah, that word. There was a word in my mind, and maybe the word will be there. I know that happens with me, that if I go to sleep thinking of something, then I wake up and maybe I've had dreams or I have thoughts that are related to that. So I hope you come up with a word of the year that's really meaningful to you and helpful to you. And I'd love to hear what it is. Send me an email at bruce@mindfulnessmode.com and let me know what your word of the year is. And I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear what meaning it has for you. And I'd love to hear what you think of the word fulfillment as my word of the year. So, Mindful Tribe, take what we've learned today to reach new heights of calm, focus, and happiness. Stay in the mode.